Well, thank you for choosing THV 11 tonight. I'm Jurnee Taylor alongside meteorologist Simone Thomas, and happy Sunday to you. Now, Simone, we have another week coming in, and a lot of people have been out of work, out of school, just at home. What can we expect going into this new week?
You know, I haven't checked the latest on school closures, but I would not be surprised if quite a few people are still out of school tomorrow, just for the simple fact we were able to get a little more melting done today, but we quite didn't make 40 degrees in the capital city. The 40 stayed off to our west. Some of our neighbors off to our northeast, closer towards Jonesboro and West Memphis, didn't even get above freezing. And overnight, we do have another sub-freezing night, not looking to get as cold as what we've seen over the most recent nights, but definitely looking to get below the freezing mark starting your Monday morning in the 20s. 25 is where we're looking to wake up in the capital city. So of course, anything that did melt today and leave a puddle or leave some slush, that will refreeze again, but we have a warm up on the way that I think will help make significant improvements to those shaded and untreated spots as we start the week. Those details are coming up in your 7-day outlook.
All right, Simone, thank you. Well, several schools have already canceled classes for tomorrow, but others are still trying to decide. It's not just about snow totals. There's a lot that goes into that call. Carter Thweet explains how districts make the call when winter weather sticks around.
At Sylvan Hills Junior High, Pulaski County Special School District crews are hard at work, preparing for whenever students return. Frederica Sharkey is the district's director of communications.
We're a very large district, so we have a lot to consider in terms of whether or not to move forward with openings and closings.
Sharkey says they gather information from many sources, including staff who live in various parts of the county. That also includes people like Curtis Johnson, executive director of operations, who consistently drives the streets to check the conditions.
The biggest thing for us is making sure that we do what's best for faculty, staff, and students, and to keep them safe.
But Johnson doesn't just stay busy on the roads, but also on the campuses. The work being done at Sylvan Hills mirrors the work being done across the district.
The maintenance team and plant planning crew have been operating since Tuesday just to get us to a point to where we can get some pathways clear. And so we'll be working through this weekend, trying to make sure that we're ready for Monday morning.
That's in case students return, but will they?
I would love to see us all return on Monday, but we have to do so in a safe and efficient manner. And if the weather does not allow us to, then I'm sure we'll make a call on Sunday.
And my last question, how will it affect scheduling? Sharkey tells me they've prepared for this.
We have 12 days built into our calendar, so for now, I don't want to say that we're comfortable, because we're never comfortable when our kids are not in school. But we definitely planned ahead in terms of Arkansas weather.
In Pulaski County, Carter Thweet, THV 11 News.
Well, we also reached out to other districts to ask about their plans. Bryant Schools tells us that they have 5 days built into the calendar, which they've now used. Any more cancellations will add an extra day to the end of the school year. And as those decisions come in, make sure to stay tuned into THV 11. But you can also text the word closings to 501-376-1111, and we will send you a link that has all of the updates from our digital team in real time. Well, in other news across the state, a national abortion rights organization is challenging Arkansas's near total abortion ban with a new lawsuit. The group Amplify Legal filed the case on Wednesday in Pulaski County. 4 women are named as plaintiffs, and they say the law, which only allows abortions to save the life of the mother, put them in life-threatening situations. The suit argues the law is unclear about when a medical emergency qualifies, and similar legal challenges in other states have produced mixed outcomes. Attorney General Tim Griffin responded online saying he plans to defend the ban and believes the lawsuit lacks legal merit. A new judge has been assigned to the Aaron Spencer murder trial. Retired Circuit Judge Ralph Wilson will now preside over the case after the Arkansas Supreme Court removed Judge Barbara Elmore Friday for refusing to recuse herself. Spencer, the Lonoke County Sheriff's candidate, has pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder in the shooting death of Michael Fossler, a man who was out on bond at the time for allegedly abusing Spencer's daughter in 2024. No new trial date has been set. Stacey Lee Drake won't face a jury until next year, but will be back in court in March. He is the man accused in a triple murder spree in Oklahoma that ended in a manhunt here in Arkansas. He was set to appear for a hearing this week, but that got pushed back. Drake has pleaded not guilty to all charges and also faces a separate murder case in Alabama. Now, in election news, a third name has entered into the candidate pool to represent the state of Arkansas in the U.S. Senate. Each state must put forth 2 senators to serve at the federal level. Senators Tom Cotton and John Bozeman are the current seat holders. Now, with Cotton's term ending next year, candidates Micah Ashby and Jeb Little could threaten Cotton's chances at re-election. Now, Senator Cotton's team, however, remains unfazed by his opponents. In a statement, Cotton's spokesperson says he's already received President Trump's and Governor Sanders' endorsement. He then touched on Cotton's achievements, explaining that he, quote, delivered billions in military funding to Arkansas to create good-paying jobs, end quote. Well, heads up, starting today, if you don't have a real ID or a passport, it will cost you extra to get on the plane. And right now, it's something around 150,000 people are doing each day. It's a $45 fee that allows you to use an alternative identity verification system. The ID will last for a 10-day travel period. And according to one TSA executive, it is worth the cost, with nearly 6% of flyers not having a compliant ID.
We want to make sure that the system is modernized. We want to make sure that we're covering down on the latest technology. We're also ensuring that in this situation, this cost is not bared by the taxpayers. This cost is bared by the individual that doesn't have a real ID compliant driver's license.
For folks who are paying this fee, TSA recommends allotting 15 to 30 minutes to get through security, and more if you are going to do it at the airport on spot. Now, on the ground, the state's Department of Finance and Administration will waive late fees on vehicle registrations expiring this week. This will be extended to any vehicle renewed by February 6, allowing drivers to avoid an expiration penalty due to winter weather closing state offices. For more on participating offices, just visit our website. That's THV11.com. A 5-year-old Minneapolis boy and his father are back home in Minnesota this weekend after being detained by ICE agents and sent to a detention center in Texas. The detainment of Ian Ramos, who was originally detained by ICE agents while wearing a knit hat and carrying a Spider-Man backpack, sparked global outrage. Ian Lee is in Minneapolis with more.
5-year-old Liam Ramos and his father, who were detained by immigration officers in Minnesota and held at an ICE facility in Texas, are back in Minneapolis this weekend, released after a judge's order. Democratic Representative Joaquin Castro accompanied father and son back to Minnesota and released these images. A photo of Liam wearing a bunny hat and Spider-Man backpack at the time of his detainment drew global outrage. Ramos was welcomed home by Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, among others. Liam's release comes amid a weekend of anti-ICE demonstrations throughout the nation, including in Los Angeles and Boston. Liam's release also comes as Democratic lawmakers continue to push for ICE reforms in Washington. Proposed new restrictions would include unmasking ICE agents and requiring more warrants. On Sunday's Face the Nation, Republican Representative Michael McCall acknowledged ICE operations in Minneapolis under Border Patrol's Gregory Bovino went too far.
Bovino went in there with these roving patrols. He escalated the situation. He escalated the tension between the public and law enforcement.
President Trump said this weekend he is now advising Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem not to intervene in protests occurring in cities led by Democrats unless local authorities ask for federal help.
And if they want help, they have to ask for it. Because if we go in, all they do is complain.
Trump's border czar Tom Homan has suggested the administration could reduce the number of immigration enforcement officers in Minnesota, but only if the state and local officials cooperate. Ian Lee, CBS News, Minneapolis.